the refineries. Let them work. If you want to regulate the petroleum industry, the downstream, that means we have to put the refineries working. We have to stop importation.
Okay.
Let us begin to produce. That will be able to manage and control the price here internally. But any price based on importation will not work. It will put Nigerians into serious poverty and suffering, which we're already experiencing now. But that was not listened to. And the subsidy was removed. And the same with palliatives. Even if we give palliatives that will cushion the impact of this removal of this subsidy, what will a bag or a cup of rice, a rubber of rice do? If we eat it for today, what about tomorrow? So these are the challenges.
Now, let me pause here again. Are you saying that the palliatives given, as a result of a meeting, of course, the palliatives were a result of a meeting by the Economic Council. Are you saying that those palliatives resulted into just being a cup of rice? Is that what you're saying on the show?
Well, I don't need to tell you that. If you look at the social media, you can see how it is being distributed all over the country.
Okay. I thought the NLC was part of the sharing process, the distribution process across the country, because we were told that Labour will be part of the distribution team. So, out of the monitoring that Labour has done, or as a result of the monitoring Labour has done, what can you tell us about the distribution process?
Honestly, from our monitoring, in as much as we believe that the sharing was not partisan or whatever, but it is not enough. It is not enough to go palliative to cushion the impact of this subsidy. That is what we are talking about. It is not enough.
Okay. So what will the government do between now and Friday that will make it enough and make the NLC call off its strike? What will be enough for NLC right now?
The government should come to the table with a mandate. We are talking about, one, increase the minimum wage. Increase the minimum wage. There are provide palliatives that can immediately reduce the impact of this subsidy removal. All our bosses, boss teams all over the country. Tell us if it is something you cannot do, let us have an understanding. Don't give us a target. Say, look, minimum wage, look at what we are going to pay. Look at what we have a proposal. You tell us this is we're looking at like 20% increase based on the increase of the petroleum price. And now you say, look, you have not even made an offer. Okay, there is no offer on the table. You have not even come to say, look, this is what I'm going to do to cushion and at least to limit the suffering of Nigerians in terms of this high cost of transportation. You have not come to say, this is what I'm going to do. Nothing has been done about it. The problem in Nigeria is not food.
Okay.
It's moving from one place to another.
Okay. Now you've mentioned increasing minimum wage. Now, the government will say they don't have enough money. They're using a large chunk of their revenue to service debt and all of that stuff.
They have enough money. The money that they pay for subsidy mover, what are they using it for? Subsidy money was being paid as subsidy every month. Where are those funds?
Like I said, a large chunk of the money is used in servicing debt, and of course, the government will have to run. Will have to do proper administration, and the other day the president was talking about how humongous the salary being gulped by the Federal Civil Service is. So, think about it from this angle. Do you think it's possible for the federal government to increase salaries?
Servicing which debt? When you borrowed $800 million. The parity is you are servicing debt. Which debt? Which debt going to roll out about $100 million for National Assembly members? Which debt?
Interesting. Let's get to the next one you listed, you talked about buses. In River State, for instance, a couple of buses were released by the state government. In Borno State, we saw the same. In Lagos State, we've seen the same. In some other states, I've mentioned River State. In Abuja, the minister said he will use the 2 billion naira given to Abuja to actually put in transportation. So is this not somehow answering your demand? So why then the threat of another strike?
These are the efforts of the state government. If the federal government will also put an effort by empowering the state government, increasing this transport scheme, it will go a long way.
But that's what I just said.
For River State,
okay.
When I see people queue up entering those buses, imagine if they were these buses all over the places, how many persons are willing to join this scheme, to join these free buses? But because it's not enough. So but this government also put resources to the government, roll out, empower them, please, number of buses, distribute all over the state. But need to be for a token.
Comrade Agwanwor. Comrade Agwanwor. Comrade, now this is where I'm coming from. Now the federal government said it was going to give 5 billion naira to the states, and so far 2 billion have been given to the states. Part of it is a loan, part of it is a grant given, but 2 billion has been given to the various states. So don't you think for a second that maybe the federal government has played its part, and maybe the state governments would have to step up?
That money was given with conditions.
Okay.
To buy grains, this and that. You go and take a loan. That is what you see on the condition. Now the person that's giving the loan will not tell me what to use the money to do. That is the problem.
All right. So you're saying that the federal government would have to do more to support the states. You also mentioned something else. I'm trying to remember what it was. You mentioned increase in salary. You mentioned transportation. And then you mentioned one other thing. I just can't remember what it was now. But between now and Friday, the federal government would not be able to reel out buses. And you say the reason why there is the need for the strike.
They may not be the rollout. What NLC is asking for? Engage us. Just the plan. What is your? But there is no plan in order to cushion this subsidy. Government have not really bring out to say this is what we will do. Have an understanding with NLC that what they really engage to say national plan to say for Nigeria, this is what I want is going to be done and put on ground to make sure that this thing don't take a very long impact on Nigerian masses. This is what NLC is asking for. So people have a target, a plan, and a set period. Nigerians will let us. Let's give them time. Let's allow them with social time. But for now, nothing on the table.
And I was going to ask, now you've said it again, you're saying Nigerians are taken for granted. You're saying that I've witnessed the economic realities and how Nigerians are suffering, and that's the reason why NLC wants to go on strike. But then the question is, if we go on an indefinite strike, will that not worsen? Will that not worsen the current economic situation? Because workers will down tools, and if workers down tools, it means productivity will be low. And will that not further increase the conundrum or the difficulties, the challenges that we find ourselves in?
As workers, I'm telling you, we cannot even afford our transport to go to work anymore. So staying home will be the best option. So our salary cannot even take us to work for a month. Going to work every day and coming back. Our salary, our take home cannot take us. So what is it?
Okay, so you're saying because of that you will down tools, but remember once again that downing tools will further worsen the economic situation. Inflation is 25.80%, and there's a likelihood that it will get worsened and still will make it difficult for every one of us to get by. That's the argument of some Nigerians. What would you react, or how would you react to that?
If that will make government to hit our demand and also begin to do things that will begin to change these policies that are anti-people and anti-workers, I think it is for all good. We should depend and then begin to implement it.
Okay, so let's quickly, before we go for our first commercial break, let's quickly go back to the talk about minimum wage. How much is labor demanding for? How much minimum wage should civil servants and Nigerians be paid?
Increase.
Sorry?
100% increase.
100%
Because
increase.
The fuel price was increased about 100%. So we're also asking for the same minimum wage increase for 20%.
100%. But government can argue, that when Labour said they were going to go on strike if there was any increase in petrol price, any further increase in petrol price, government put a cap on the price of petrol. Is that not government keeping to its side? Some will argue. So what would you also react, or how would you react to that?
Well, when before the first strike, we said if women increase the price, then we go on strike. And government took us to court. And the court said that let's have to control the men. So government cannot go and increase the price. When there was a court saying that let's have to control the men. So that's why we say if they further increase the price, we'll go on strike again.
All right.
However, if that increase is still about 200%. This is also our proposal for minimum wage increase of 200%.
We'll go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we would come to the state, and I would ask you, as the NLC chairman in Rivers State, what can we do in the state to help people in the state fight the current economic realities or survive? I think that's the better way to put it. So you do stay tuned, please.
Okay.
Hour, we're talking about the NLC strike that may emphasis on that, may be on Friday, the 22nd of September. And if you're just tuning in, this is Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info with Kalada Kurubatubo. I've got Comrade Alex Agwanwor, NLC Chairman, River State, via the phone. Once again, thank you for being on the show, Mr. Agwanwor.
Okay.
All right. So I said before the break that we should, when we talk about national issues, we focus on the federal government alone. Now, in Rivers State, from your own observation as the chairman of NLC, what has the Rivers State government done to help Rivers people survive the current economic realities? Of course, apart from rolling out the buses that we talked about earlier.
Okay. I think, first of all, I want to commend the governor of Rivers State.
Okay.
There was the first governor. Rivers was the first state to first of all align with one of the positions of NLC in terms of the partnership.
Okay.
After the subsidy removal. If you remember, 3 weeks after the removal, the governor took up a free bus scheme.
Okay.
All over to fly different routes all over the state. I think that's what we are talking about.
So you're satisfied. Okay, go ahead.
And if the federal government, like I said earlier, will think this kind of a scheme, because the major problem we have is transportation. Because the increase in transportation particularly increase the cost of goods and services. Honestly. Then also the burden. If you use a car, if you take the normal petrol you buy for your car, for those who have cars, it's like by 3 or 4 of the amount you spend. Nobody can go to a station and fill the tank. Even when you tell the station people to fill a tank, they will look at you like they're a thief. Let's get the money to fill tanks. What is the situation we are now? So I want to commend the state government for doing that thing. They did that, and also if you look at even the federal government policy, the state government also started distributing those policies, which are also monitoring. It's not enough. If you go to some area, look at getting like the top of price, the top of price.
Okay.
It is not enough.
Comrade, let me paint a picture for you with statistics. Rivers State is top 3 when it comes to revenue allocation in Nigeria. Delta, Akwa Ibom, Rivers State, top 3. When it also, because you asked what the subsidy removal money has been used for, it's been distributed to the various states and also to the federal government. I mean, FAC generally. Some of it have been saved, a couple of it have been saved, and they're looking at putting some into the infrastructural deficits in the country. So when you look at River State IGR as well, the IGR is doing very well. Top 4, I think. Yeah, top 4. When you also look at crude oil 13% derivation, right? River State is also top 3. Now, looking at all of these, I would ask the question again: do you think that the River State government can do more, just like NLC at the national is asking for more from the federal government?
Yeah, they can do more. They can do more. They can. And that is what we also discussing in the committee. We are also believing that the state government will also come with their own intervention. That will only come.
Okay.
They can.
And what would their intervention be? And in this case, River State, what will be the demands from NLC to the state government?
One intervention would be NLC is not the only person in that committee.
Okay.
We have different organizations in the committee, represented by all the groups and organizations. We have regional rulers. We have the religious groups, Islamic and Christian. We have local government. We have the anti-party, all the political parties represented. We have the labor unions and the physical organizations, all in that group. Like I said, our position will not be different from that of our national position in terms of the politics. So that's NLC is concerned. So we believe that this first scale, this transportation, will really surely and also reduce the impact of this transportation, like in terms of this subsidy removal. So for us, it's going a long way. It's
Okay.
going a long way.
Okay.
Because people suffer, most people trek from one point to another for lack of trust.
Okay. Dangote's refinery is set to come on stream sometime November 30. Let's put it like that. Diesel and jet fuel will start October. Yeah. Will that pacify the NLC when Dangote's refinery starts working? Also, the federal government once upon a time did say that the old Port Harcourt refinery with 60,000 barrels per day capacity will also start operations December 2023. Will that also pacify the NLC and make the NSC or NLC forget striking and threats of striking?
For Dangote refinery, for us, we cannot talk about that. It's the refinery. Because that refinery was commissioned in December on May before Buhari left office.
Okay.
To commission that refinery. And it was said that they said by the next 2 months, the refinery will start working optimally or partially. So up to today, there is no. So you can see the commission project are not ready to work. What is the so and again, coming to the refinery, yes, I been told that you work by October. But what is what we do?
But then again, if we survive and get to December, like you've painted the picture, the question is, if these refineries, you talked about Dangote refinery being a private refinery, but there are refineries that a lot crash that price gold, and then if with that of the Port Harcourt refinery working by December, all right.
Honestly, it's the price. Only Port Harcourt refinery can price the price to understand.
And if it does crash the price, if the price crashes, yeah.
The president, then only the party of government. For how long I say the plan will work, the price will work. So that Buhari came into power here, say we fix the plan. That's one of the major campaign promises. For 8 years, the plan had been, money was spent billions of dollars. Up to now, the plan did not work. We left office, and we're talking about price will work.
Okay.
So Nigerians have lost trust and confidence of government.
All right then. Let's open the phone line so Rivers people can interact with us and have a conversation for development. So I'm going to open the phone lines right about now. You've heard the NLC chairman in Rivers State saying the reason why they want to go on strike is because the federal government is not showing sincerity, and all they are saying and all they are bringing to the table is have patience. Have patience. We're doing the best. Have patience, and you heard it for yourself. So, do you think Nigerians should continue to sacrifice and help the government on time? Or do you think it's right? And Labour is saying, see, let's get this done now so people will not die as a result of the current economic realities. Also, they are saying, yeah, fix the refineries. We don't want food. We don't want palliatives. But for the now, you're fixing refineries. Get us horses with discounted transportation fares. Get us, what else did you say? Minimum wage. That is 100% increased. An 100% increment, right, to the minimum wage. And so that will be, in my calculation, somewhere around 60,000 thereabouts. And these are the immediate demands that came from the federal government. The federal government is saying, patience. Am I right, comrade? Is that the summary I've talked about? All right, then. But then I asked, can the Rivers do more? And he says, yes, they can do more, but they have done honorably right about now. And he's saying that there is a committee, will have to generate demand for the state government. So what do you think about these comments that we've had here? To get your views, I'd like to hear you. 0817-930002, 0879-3003, and for WhatsApp 0809-030-6416. Remember, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, and we're active on X. All three platforms, the same handle, Nigeria Info PH. I'm going to start with Clinton now. Clinton is calling from Bori. Clinton, greetings to you. Yeah, welcome.
Kalada, good evening to you.
Yeah, welcome.
And good evening to your guest.
All right.
In a time when we are calling for cost reduction issues in the cost of governance. And labor unions are telling us that they want 100% increase in their minimum wage. That is fine. But what I was thinking is that labor should ensure that the federal government tries to regulate the price of commodities in the market. That should be their primary objective. But what I'm seeing here is that labor is self-centered. Now, come to talk about the minimum wage. I believe some time ago, the federal government said minimum wage should be set. Some states are not.
To the man who is at Soko. The other day, yesterday in your news, people from Boni, they should be complaining bitterly about the increment in price from 2,500 to 5,000 plus, and it's going up. What is labor? What is labor agitating concerning those persons who are suffering on that river side?
All right, then.
That's my question.
Michael, thank you very much. All right, let's come back to you now, comrade. The first person talked about labor asking for increment of minimum wage in a time when people are calling for the reduction of cost of governance. Let's start with that one. What is your reaction? How would you react to it?
That's not responding.
React to it.
That's not responding. One time, cost of governance doesn't mean one time demand. The cost of governance, who are the ones lifting the cost of governance? They are not the power. If we want to reduce the cost of governance, people reduce the governance, government political.
That's fine to argue. Okay.
We are ready for that. And for increasing the cost of social services, we are going to increase the salary. I mean, that's when it's not interest my please. For me, it does not make sense to me.
All right. Now he asked another question.
The issue of the palliative for those.
No. Before we get to palliative areas, you asked a question. He said, talking about minimum wage still, that the state government is yet to implement. Is that true? Because people, tout that argument a lot. Is that true? That the River State government is implementing, and it's saying even if it's freeze, will states be able to implement an increment?
Government is among the state government that implemented minimum wage.
Okay. Okay.
We are to get that information.
All right, then I wanted to get.
Let's get
to the rural areas now.
For the rural areas, like to talk, like if I to have the like those things that can go to those river areas. Also, especially part of this transportation in those areas. So these are things that for us, at the community level, we will look at this in those projections. The government will also touch on it.
Now, may I add to this conversation and say that it's not just the riverine areas. Some people have called in time past to say, what about those of us in HA? What about those of us in that region? What about those of us in Odwal? What about those of us in Emwa? Well, natives, talked about transportation and the government focusing on transportation because that's where, a lot of Nigerians have found difficulty in the current economic reality. Some people are saying, what's happening to the rural areas? Not just the riverine, but even in upland areas. So what's your reaction to that?
If you look at the university, for instance, even the buses scheme was not even enough to cater for the urban areas. It's not even enough. That's why we are advocating. If from what the state governments have done, like River State and other states, if the federal government wants to release funds or provide buses to give support to all the states, these buses can go down to rural areas if there are enough of them.
All right.
They can go to rural and urban centers if there are enough of them. Because in fact, at the rural areas, they even suffer more. Because coming from those areas to the township, that people that work from those areas to the township areas, it's something very difficult. So this is what we're talking about. These are the kind of policy we want.
All right. The first caller also mentioned the price of items in the marketplace. What's your take on that? Maybe the statement, I don't know. But we can find a way to regulate the price of food items in the marketplace because that will also be some sort of palliative for Nigerians. And why is Labour not asking for that?
Not
reduce, regulate, not reduce. Regulate.
But
yeah.
When the free regulate, of the market, it's something that was about to was which was going to kill our something like. They don't know what the policy was. So the major reason why the price of course will increase is because the production price also increase. These are factors for us. Our price of services. And what we do.
All right, and
I'm asking for.
all right.
What do you do to do it?
All right.
With some of picking effect.
Right. Let's take more calls. 017 017 0002 and 0817 923 while I'm waiting for the calls, I'm going to quickly take on messages. For me, providing bosses and sharing palliatives are senseless and baseless. How many bags of rice can clean the effect of this hardship? How often are we going to join the bosses that will soon be off the road due to poor maintenance? The government of Tinubu, I can't read that, I'm sorry, but you went ahead to say Labour should go ahead and shut down the economy camps. From Rupoku, thank you very much. This one is on Facebook and it says, "Good day, Kalada. Sure you're keeping up well. Please, why are we talking about this? NLC should please do what they can. Why are we glorifying stupidity? There are oil-producing countries that have never had shortages for decades. Why are we not talking about finding how they got there? Why are we glorifying this in this country? The idea of palliative is born out of mediocrity and laziness in a corrupt society. Talk less of Jaria that dawned with corrupt gam, the organs, you may know. The question is how had helped. Gosh. NLC, please do full. Chukwemeka Michael from Precious. Precious Kolomeche. Precious, greetings. Welcome. What is your name, please? Yeah.
I think I have to read about your bring up.
Okay.
Let me put a comment on the issue of government and palliative. Please. I want to let you and the people that Nigerian government and each leader are on a game plan. The game plan in the sense that they do everything that is happening in terms of economy. Like now, you can hear me, some governors have been giving 2 trillion. But Canada, for crying out, that's not our problem at this point. The problem is for government to set up certain agencies that can actually go the price regulations of certain commodities. You can know too well that presently now, the first thing is the market. In fact, know what the common man can say. I can tell you, I went to the market the other day to buy a bag of rice. Previous I bought about 33,000 plus. But I was very surprised when the vendor told that the rate price is 2,000. He hyped back then and now it's 50,000. A price of rice in Nigeria that during the former administration of Jonathan, in fact, when you want to go for capital, in fact, you're a big boy with 8,000 naira. But today, that's 6,000, 5,000 something right now is 50,000. So I think Nigerian leaders, if I were to be one of them, I will just come to tell Nigerians that please, people should forgive us. We have fed you people woefully.
All right.
Yes, there's economic changes in all parts of the country. That is globally. But I want to tell you that some of them now are not suffering exactly what populace of Nigerians are suffering today.
All right.
Being that the environment of environment are there to enhance it becomes different. So, but I know most of them are hearing me. So, if actually can learn from the colleagues in other parts of the world, I think it will be Nigeria.
All right, thank you
but
very
let me
much.
tell you, I am not talking at myself. If I can be able to afford the bag of rice, what about the common man that will not be able to afford the bag of rice?
All right, Precious, I've got to go now.
What is the cost of governance?
All right, Precious, thank you very much. I've got to go now. Thank you very much for your time so other people can call in and give us their thoughts. But back to you now, great Agwanwor. Let's go back to the price increase in the market, because I know you said that petrol is a major reason why the prices are increasing, but there's the profit racketeering. I can call it able to make excessive profits, from the way they price the items. So don't you think that we can do something about that? And that should be a part of the demand for NLC. I was talking about profit racketeering. Lots of people try to ensure that excessive profit, the way they price the item, the way they put pricing on the item. Don't you think that's also something they should look into? Because no matter how much you act for, the pricing of these items will also up and make it also difficult for Nigerian workers and during the led to buy the essentials like gari, rice, and the likes.
In a regulated economy, the prices of goods and services are determined by market forces.
Okay.
What I buy in the market may not be what you will buy. For government to regulate on certain commodities is very difficult. But there are commodities that government can regulate. like this, like let me say, like issue of the control, foreign commodity can be regulated. The government can instead have a control over the processing and distribution. So, goods like a time may not be. But in a case whereby the price of goods are being determined by the local market forces, which are government to have control over. If you go to the market, if I don't like your price, I go to the person I like the price.
All right.
I buy what I want to buy.
All right. Yeah, I understand. Let's quickly take another call. Israel is calling from Abu the West. Israel, welcome on the show. Yeah, welcome.
Good day.
Yeah.
Canada.
Yes.
This is Israel.
All right then.
I went to ask Comrade Agwanwor a question. The former government, President of Nigeria, they have implemented that they should pay workers 30,000 million in Nigeria for the government. From that time till now, some of the workers in some cities, they have not reached a new limit. And according to the Congress, the Congress said that because people have implemented state, they have not that minimum wage. But the Congress said that they have implemented it. Why are they not? Some people have not received that minimum wage, especially in local government.
Right.
Local government workers have not received that minimum wage till now.
Right.
What NLC in Rivers State, what do they do to ensure that the local government workers receive the minimum wage? Because according to Comrade, he said that they have implemented it. And anything that have been implemented, they're supposed to pay. Why are they not paying local government workers the new minimum wage? Thank you. I remain Israeli.
All right. We would answer that question because we've got a commercial break. So after commercial break, we'll answer the question. We'll be right back and wrap this immediately after the commercial break. To the top of the hour, and after that, or at the top of the hour, it will be time for the news update. So, Agwanwor, welcome back, and let's quickly the conversation. Someone can against minimum wage, especially in the rural areas. You are an NLC chairman. Can you react to that, please?
Thank you very much for that. I think I'm happy that you narrowed, because when you ask me a question, you ask me whether minimum wage has been paid by the Rivers State government. Which I think yes. And which are system by yes. So far, the State government is concerned, minimum wage has been implemented. Don't forget that local government authorities, the local government council authorities are in charge of their workers. They pay their workers to their council authorities. So if there are issues of minimum wage, some workers not getting up to 30% increase, I think it's something that how they use from there, and that's some other one. And also affecting the category of workers. If there is a direct government entity, because which also question the level of casual work that local people. So it's not because we're talking about the mode.
Right.
So this is not also started.
All right. So okay, I have one more question. We need to wrap that in 60 seconds. So now you're for minimum wage. Basically, the NLC is called for minimum wage, a 100% increment. But I'm only of the problem from a standpoint, given that every time there's a possible inflation increment as well. Should we not be calling for the building of industries? That's the question. Should we not be calling for building of industries instead of a minimum wage increment?
Look at what they earn.
Oh, they'll earn salary. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
All right then. All right.
The minimum wage.
All right then. All right, that's much that we can take. Comrade Alex Ikechi Agwanwor.
Thank you very much.
All right. I hope we can have a conversation in the nearest future again.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay, so that's the much we can take. It's time for the news update. After that, more conversations. Please stay tuned to 92.3 Nigeria Info.